Hello, welcome to another video of Vacuum Cleaner Tech and Car Obsessed. Right, my name's John. Right, a quick one really. It wasn't one I was expecting to make. What happened to me last year is I was using my air compressor that I use for inflating tyres. And I had an incident actually. The air compressor I was using was one of the air compressors you can buy where you can use it plugged into the 3-pin mains, 12 volt car socket if you want to as well. Now the thing I liked about the one I had was that plugging it into the mains was brilliant for me because I never used to have to worry about starting the car, and I could do it without having to get the keys for the car and stuff like that. So there was benefits for that. Anyway, I had an accident where I accidentally drove over my air compressor because I didn't realise it was in the way. I ended up having to buy another one. Now I went to go out buy one, and I went to get the same one that I had before, and unfortunately with what's happening lately, prices all go up, and the price of the one that I was going to go for was over doubling what I paid for it last time, so I thought I'm not paying that. And I thought there's going to be better out there. The one I had before was analog, didn't have a digital display on it. So pretty much what I decided was I would have a look and see what my options were. Now, what I ended up doing was I ended up using some Christmas money and purchasing one from Argos, believe it or not, and it was one of the cheapest ones there. It was on offer, and I was able to use some Christmas money towards it, which I thought was a good idea. But it's also something, since I've used it, and I have been using it, I wasn't sure about it at first, but since I've been using it, it's turned out to be pretty good actually. And I'll share it with you now. So this is what I purchased, which is the Airhawk Max. This is a cordless tire inflator, so it doesn't require any mains connection. It has a battery, a bit like a cordless drill, and you charge it, and then you can use it to inflate the tires. It's got a digital display on it, so you can program it to the PSI or bar setting that you want to use. Once you've done that, you just press the trigger, and it will inflate the tire and then stop when it gets to the desired pressure. So far, it's really good. I'm going to open it up and share with you guys what you get for the money. At the time when I bought this was, I think this was 60 or 65 pounds when I bought it. I don't think it's worth £100. I think you should be able to, if you're going to go for something like this, get it for under 100. If you're working on multiple cars and you're inflating tires from flat, I would say that this may not be the best product for you. But for general maintenance of your vehicle, for general users, like just general car owners who just need to check their tires and look after their own vehicle, this really does do a good job. Right, so let's open it up now. Everything that you see is what comes with the device. So you get yourself in a nice Airhawk Max case, and this is one of the things that I like about this. When I go for a tyre compressor, I always like to get it in a case, because you don't know when you're going to need to use it, in what situation you're going to be in. So you do tend to put it in the boot of your car and keep it with you because you might need it. And this particular model is quite clever because, yes, it is cordless, but when we go into it now, you'll see that it does have the ability to be very useful even when you're on the move. Nice little case this is. So as you can see, everything's in the case. I have used this, but I always put everything back in the bags to keep everything protected. So as you can see, we'll just take this out a minute. So this is your hose. Okay, so that would screw onto the end of the compressor, and then this goes onto the tyre. Now, I will say one thing. Some people have said that they prefer the screw-on ones. Okay, personally, I have to disagree with that one, because even though the screw ones do give you a really good connection, it does take longer for you to put air in the tyres, especially if you're topping them up. So this one I find fine. You just press the spring release, push it onto the tyre valve, and then let go of it and make sure it's solid before you turn your compressor on. Okay. The compressor itself. There we go. Look at that. It looks a little bit like a cordless drill. It's got some attachments on the front of it, you'll see here. So for inflating different devices. So yes, you can use it to inflate inflatable pools. And I believe you can use it to inflate balls as well. So footballs and basketballs, etc. You can use it to do that as well. It does have the attachments that go on there. These attachments don't go onto this end. They go onto this end. So the attachments that we're talking about will go onto this end here. Okay, this flexible pipe. I don't believe they go onto this end here. This also has a light, so when you use it, it lights up. So the battery, there we go. We've got the battery. Oh no, I picked the wrong one up. Oh, this is quite interesting. I've done this twice now already. So I've just picked this up and I said it was the battery, but it's not the battery. This is one of the good things about this product, and that is that it's got a 12-volt adapter. So this is a 12-volt adapter in here. I won't take it out because I might not be able to get it back in. I know I can. Yeah, so inside here is a 12-volt adapter. This is what you would plug in to your car cigarette socket. Well, cigarette socket, we don't have that anymore. The car 12-volt outlet, yeah, on all modern cars. Even electric cars have these. And you plug in this, right, into your tyre compressor, like so. Then the cable goes into your 12-volt socket inside the vehicle. And you can use this to fill your tyres up if your battery's dead. So you don't have to worry if your battery's died. So in this instance, we're not going to use that. But that is something that's really good. It looks like a battery, and it feels like a battery, but it's not. And it's quite funny because I keep making the mistake. This is the battery, and this is a 11.1 volt battery, and it's 1,500 milliamp battery, 16.65 watt. So it's not as powerful as some cordless drill batteries, but it still does inflate the tires really well. So what you do is you stick it on there like that. Straight away, as you can see, as soon as the battery's on there, it's lit up on the screen, and the lights come on the front. And that light, it is a very powerful light. I didn't think it was very good when I did it in the daylight, but since I've used it outside in poor light, I do find that this really good. That light makes a big difference when you're working on the car, especially in poor lighting conditions. So I will just twist this on here now. It goes on, and then you twist it into position and it locks into place. See, there's your hose. So what you would do is you would plug that onto your tyre valve, okay, onto your tyre valve, clamp it into position, and then you turn it on. So when you want to turn the device on, you push the trigger, yeah, and it will come on. Now, it won't come on now because it's turned off here. So I've got a power button on the front, which I have to turn on here first on the screen. So I've got a power button here, and then plus and minus to change settings in the menu. So I can set it to what PSI I want it to inflate to, and I can also change it from PSI to bar as well, okay? And now it's on, I can press the button, and then when you finish with it, you press the trigger to turn it off. Obviously, to turn it off, you see the display there now, it will turn itself off after a few seconds. So it's got power saving built in. So it's very good. Yeah, it's not too heavy. To be honest with you, even with the battery on there, it's not heavy. Now, from usage, I find that it's quite stable when it's on the floor. However, what I have found, depending on the size of the tyre that you're inflating, so this pipe is only one size. It doesn't come with anything longer than this. So if you're inflating a tyre that's quite big, you may have to move the vehicle potentially, so that the valve is not at the top, it's at the bottom of the tyre, to allow better reach for this. Now, I'm only saying this because from personal experience, if you're filling a tyre up with air that's quite low, you don't really want to be standing there holding it like this, waiting for it to fill up. The benefit of this is you can set it to the PSI or bar setting that you want, press the button and leave it, and then it will just turn itself off when it reaches that setting. And then you can just turn it off, take it off the valve, put the dust cap back on, and then go to the next tyre. I was able to, I did a car with it recently, and I did all the 4 tyres. They were all low. They weren't flat, they were all low. So I was looking at putting anywhere between 15 to 20 PSI in every single tyre, because it was low. And this did it fine. The battery did not die, and it did all the tyres fine. I didn't have any issues at all with putting air in. We'll leave that out just a minute because we'll just show what else we've got. So we've also got the charger. So the charger connects to the actual battery itself to charge. So I'll just show on here now. So you would plug the charger in via this little socket here. Yeah, so on the battery itself, you've got a little socket there for charging, and you plug it into the battery like that, and then you plug it into the mains. There's an indicator on the charger, so it will flash red when it's charging, and when it's finished, it will go out. So I try and keep everything tidy when it comes to my tyre compressor. I can take everything out of the bags if I really wanted to, but me personally, I kept it in the bags for the short term. And what's quite funny about this is I wasn't going to do a video on this, and it was just the fact is that after I was using it, I thought it might be quite useful. So there's another adapter here. So this adapter would go on the end, and then allow you to use the other adapters which are on here as well. Okay, so it comes with all the accessories. Now, one of the first things that I was thinking when I purchased it was, oh, will I need to get a spare battery? Well, I've thought about it. You can buy replacement batteries. They are doable. However, I don't think you need a new battery, a spare battery with this, because you've got that function where you can use the 9-volt, oops, I dropped it, where you can use the 12-volt power adapter for the vehicle to actually power the air compressor. So in essence, you've got yourself a cordless air compressor, which can still be used as a 12-volt air compressor should you have an issue and you can't use the battery or charge it. So now, charging times, I bet people are thinking, what is that then? Well, charging time, I put it on charge for let me have a think now. I think it was 4.5 hours, was it? I think it was 4.5 hours charging time, and that was from dead, that was. So I think it was 4.5 hours charging time from when it was flat. Okay, so that's not too bad. So as you can see, it comes in this case. That is a plastic insert inside this case. It's not a very sturdy case. You wouldn't be able to put any weight on it because it would break. But then it is a tire compressor. You know, you shouldn't be putting any weight on it anyway, really, should you? You know, it's certainly not driving over one. And then you just fold it up, get your paperwork, because it comes with this book, this little manual of how to use it. So you've got your 12-volt adapter, you've got your LCD display, yeah, you've got your DC adapter for the car, your battery, your pressure adapter, and there's your extension hose, and your light. I haven't had any problems with it overheating. It's done 2 cars with no problems. The only thing I will say that is a little disappointing, but not a deal breaker in my eyes. The only thing that disappointed me a little bit was when I was using it the other day. It doesn't give you any indication of battery life. So I was like, oh, okay, how much battery's left in it? You know, is it going to be okay to do this car? And as it turned out, that as I just finished inflating the tyre, it turned itself off and it was dead. So it doesn't give you any indication of when the battery's low. It just turns itself off and it won't come back on. But again, you can still use the adapter that I showed you just now that will plug into the 12-volt outlet in any vehicle, and that would allow you to do that. Now, so I've got something else to show you which I didn't pick up. You're going to like this. Okay. Okay, so if you're a bit like me, where you want to be able to use the air compressor pretty much in any situation. So in other words, if you don't know when you're going to use it, you're not necessarily going to keep the battery charged on a regular basis. It might be sitting in the boot for 6 months or something, and then all of a sudden you have a major issue where you have a tyre that needs air, and you think, oh, I need to use it ASAP. I don't know if it's only just me, but I always find that you get these problems happen when it's the most inconvenient time. So, like for example, when you get up in the morning to take your son to school or something, or go to work, and then, oh God, my tire's flat or my tire's low, and you don't necessarily notice that. Now, I will say one thing with the modern vehicles that we have, it's very good because they've got TPMS, which is tire pressure monitoring system. That's really, really good on the modern cars because it will alert you when your tires are getting low. So it will actually give you a warning on the dashboard and tell you. However, if it's anything like my car, it doesn't tell you which tire needs the air. No, it just tells you that something's low, but it won't tell you which tire. So you have to check all 4 tires because it won't tell you which tire it is. The more modern cars are a bit better now, and they will tell you exactly which tire needs air. My wife's car, for example, actually gives you a little display and shows how much PSI air is in each tire, so that you know that if the tire pressures are off, you know that, oh look, that tire pressure's got 36 PSI and that other one's got 22. That's not right. So, but there is a level on the ECU or something on the tire pressure sensor, and it will tell you when it gets too low. It will trigger it off and come up on the dashboard. And here's a little bit of information for people. UK only, mine, not any other country. But in the UK, when it comes to an MOT, if you have a TPMS symbol on your dashboard and you put your car in for an MOT, it will fail. So TPMS obviously will come up if the tyres are low, or it will come up if there's something wrong with the sensor or the valve. Usually you can fix it by putting air in the tyre, but sometimes the error won't go away on its own. You have to clear the error message. So here's a little tip for everyone. If you're putting your car in for an MOT and you've got a TPMS light on your dashboard telling you that it's something wrong with a tyre that's low, check all your tyre pressures. If you've done your tyre pressures and it hasn't gone, then reset it and then it should go. If it doesn't go, then you need to have your tyres checked again make sure that you've got plenty of air in your tyres, and if it's still not going after you've reset it, then you may need to go to a tyre place and have your tyres checked. If it's a more modern car and you can find out which tyre is looking, you might have a tyre that's got a slow puncture, which is causing the sensor to keep triggering. But with TPMS, which is tyre pressure monitoring system, this is something that uses sensors on the valves on every single wheel. And these sensors require batteries. And these batteries have to be replaced after a lifespan of anywhere between 5 to 10 years. And if you go to like to a tyre, some tyre places can do it, some places can't. But pretty much you're looking at anywhere between £30 a wheel, maybe even more, depending on the car you've got, to have these replaced. And you can't pass the MOT without your tyre pressure sensors working. So that's something to be mindful of. If you've got your car going in for an MOT, make sure that you don't have any tyre pressure sensors, warning lights on your dashboard before you go in, because otherwise they'll fail it. Right, okay, so what we've got here is something that's quite interesting actually. So I said earlier about being able to use this using a 12-volt outlet. Well, I've actually bought an adapter that will allow me to use this on a 3-pin mains plug. Yeah, so this will plug into a normal 3-pin outlet. You just plug it into the mains, yeah, and you plug in the other end of the adapter that you're using. So in this instance, it's the 12-volt adapter that you use. It plugs into that end, and then you can use adapters that you would normally use in the car that you can only use using your 12-volt socket. You can use it using a 3-pin socket, because this is your transformer that is known, technical electronical side of it, is a step-down transformer. Basically, this will convert the AC, alternating current, from your main socket into DC 12 volts, so you can use it with your appliances. This is rated for 120 watts. This has also got surge protection inside it, so it will not allow your devices to be damaged. This is what I purchased off Amazon. It came highly recommended. Loads of other buyers have said that this is really good. And one of the main things that this is used for is tyre compressors. And what's quite interesting when it comes to tyre compressors is that sometimes you can get a tyre compressor with your car. If you're very fortunate, you get a tyre compressor that comes with your car when you buy it new, if you're lucky. And they always connect to the 12-volt outlet in your car, which is brilliant. It's fine. However, there are some instances where you can't use it. So an example is if you get up in the morning and you plug in your 12-volt adapter to use it and it won't work. There are reasons why you can't use it. Another reason is that if you've got an issue where your battery is flat in your car and you have to charge that battery, yeah, then that's fine. That's okay, because you have to get that battery boosted. However, when you use a 12-volt adapter, it will use a lot of power of the battery. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but they won't work when the engine's not running. Usually you can't get the 12-volt adapters to work until the engine's running. Especially with my vehicle that I have, the 12-volt power adapters, I think there's 2 in my car, they won't work unless my engine is running. Now, if you've got a problem with your battery, or you've got a weak battery in your car and you're using the 12-volt adapter, you should always make sure your engine's running. But if you're doing that, obviously using the tyre compressor, the other issue you've got as well is that the cables aren't necessarily that long, and you find that you're having your doors open, and it can be quite difficult sometimes and awkward when you're doing that way. This actually makes a big difference, because this allows you to use the mains powered side of it, but you don't have to worry about utilizing the vehicle. So for me personally, I don't like turning my engine on just so I can use a tyre compressor. Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea just to start your engine up and have it running just so you can put air in your tyres. So I tend to like to have this adapter, but this adapter is going to come in really, really useful, because If there are other devices that you have in your car that use a 12-volt socket, but you can't use it because you think, I can't use it because it's in the car, now you can. So if you've got a torch or something like an inspection lamp, or something like that that you use in the car, you can use this now. So it does open up possibilities now and makes it quite interesting. So this is something that I'm going to be, I think, potentially using in the garage, and it's going to allow me to be able to use the air compressor in all scenarios, not just cordless. So what's going to happen, what's the benefit for me is that if I was to go to my tyre compressor and it was flat, and I can't use it and it's an emergency, I don't have another tyre compressor, I only have one. So if my tyre compressor is flat and I need to charge the battery and it's going to take 4 hours to maybe 5 hours to charge, then how am I going to get my car on the road? So in this instance, this adapter is going to be brilliant because it allows me to be able to use it using a mains, and I don't have to worry about charging the battery. Now, you do have the option of using the 12-volt socket in the car, but having that as well makes a big difference. The other thing as well that's really interesting as well for having an adapter like this that allows you to use the 12-volt adapter is that my wife, I think my wife bought an accessory for the car about 12 months ago, and this accessory needs to be charged, and it charges via the 12-volt socket, but there's no other way to charge it apart from the 12-volt socket. So if she doesn't take it in the car and leave it in the car to charge, she can't charge it. Now, this journeys that we do, it needs to be charged for quite a while. So you're looking at a few hours, but we tend to do short journeys. The longest journey we do is an hour, and that's not long enough to charge the device. So so in this instance, this will be brilliant. You get to charge it up, and then that's fine then. So it does have its uses. Anyway, I'm open to questions and feedback. I'm quite happy to do another video on this, of actually using it and showing it in inflating a tyre. Like I said, I've used it several times now, and I've had no problems with it at all. It's really done a good job. I was a little bit against a cordless tyre inflator because I was thinking, it might not have the power to inflate the tyre. It might not do the job properly. But yeah, the only thing I would say that I've noticed, which is not a problem really, but it's just something to be aware of, and that is the PSI gauge on the Airhawk is not as accurate as my digital tyre pressure gauge. So I've got a digital tyre pressure gauge I think I bought from Halfords, I think. And that tyre pressure gauge is 2 to 3 PSI more accurate than the Airhawk. So when I put air in a tyre the other day, and I set it to 36 PSI, it was 34 PSI in the tyre when I tested it using the my aftermarket digital tyre pressure gauge. It's not a deal breaker for me. What it effectively means is you just increase the PSI slightly when you're inflating. So what I've done now is I've just changed it now so that the PSI is inflated to say like 38 or 39. And then when I check it, then it's usually spot on, which is 36 PSI. What tyres have I inflated? I've inflated the tyre up to 48 PSI, didn't have an issue at all. All the tyres that I've worked with on the cars that I've inflated recently, the maximum PSI rating is 51 PSI in the tyre. I've never put that in. The highest I've ever put in is 48 PSI, and that was because the tyre was suspected to have a slow puncture. So the tyre was inflated and then left overnight and see if it was flat in the morning. And if it was, then it was a case of getting that tyre checked and repaired if possible. But apart from that, I haven't had any problems using it at all. I find it a really good piece of kit. And yeah. Right, thanks for watching, and thanks for bearing with me. I shall, any new people joining, I'd like to say like and subscribe. Really helps the channel. I'm going to leave now and I shall speak to you all guys another time. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Bye.